and welcome to the Toon, Terrace podcast. You might see some familiar faces if you've watched the previous channel's podcast and match reviews or whatever it was that was happening there, but we are here on the new channel again. Like I said, this is going to be a learning experience. We'll get things right, we'll get things wrong. Some people may be watching it, some people may not. But we all know and we all aware that's going to take some time, and that's so feedback's going to be great, whatever it is, whether or not it's during the show or after. But what we're going to do is we'll first go around and we'll just ask how how are you guys? Because it was a very probably stressful week last week. 6 days, 3 games, and some heart and mouth moments, shall we say?
Yeah, it's a beautiful feeling. It's a beautiful feeling after it's all settled down. Brilliant.
I'm wondering why we're not playing tonight. It just seems like we're supposed to have a game of football every other day, and all of a sudden it's like, oh no, you've got to wait a full week, mind.
This time next year we will be playing on these nights.
Well, either that or Thursday, but it'll be mid. I know it's like How do you survive without midweek football? It's boring. It's like got nothing to do midweek now. It's like
I know you got to talk to your family and shit like that. It's ridiculous.
I know. How dare you, Newcastle, not put a midweek match on you?
Yes. Hopefully they're in Dubai because that seems to do us the world of good. So
we should be going over there at every given opportunity.
Yes. Yeah. Should just be based over there forever now, I think.
Move the training ground.
If they want to invite us over, I'm more than welcome, especially with the weather at the minute. It's a little bit nippy.
Yeah, I will slum it for a couple of weeks, absolutely, if they want to do that.
I know. It's like, if I have to come.
If you insist.
Yeah. Just, I'm only doing it for the club, yeah.
And the sacrifices.
See, that we're saying it's chilly. It's probably quite mild for Max, because,
I mean, the spring has arrived in Sweden now, finally. After tricking us so many times, it was like it was getting warmer, and then a snowstorm hit, and it was getting warmer, and a snowstorm hit, and I was about to give up and move from this country. But now it's finally settling down, and it seems like spring is here. So it's actually very nice these days.
See, you've got rid of the snowstorm, and now the Isak storm's hit.
Yes. Sweden's.
But that's a good storm. That's a good storm.
I was going to say the second best, third best export from Sweden since ABBA, because you've got to put IKEA up there. Their meatballs are.
I thought you were going to say Max as well, but okay then.
Thank you, Michael.
He's our favorite. He's our favorite export of all time, isn't he? Bless him.
Top 10, maybe. Top 10.
Maybe. Touch and go, but I'm sorry. There's no way Max is better than Isak.
No, I'll give up that position.
Yeah,
he can have number one. It's fine.
Especially and as we're going to talk about, obviously the beast stung by the Magpies. Brentford, who I think we are only the second team for them to lose to at the G-Tech Community Stadium. See, got it right. I had to remember there because it used to be the Brentford. In this day and age of FFP, you've got to make sure that the name's right for the sponsorship.
Absolutely.
But no, so like I said, Brentford are a tough side. They're a really good side, and they play some really nice football as well. And Ivan Toney was really, really worrying us until he scored an offside goal and missed a penalty, which I'm sure he must have had on the betting odds, because.
How is he still playing, man?
Honestly, with him being involved in that many controversial decisions, I think he had an accumulator on.
I know. How much for scoring an offside goal, missing a penalty, and scoring a penalty?
Your guard's got to be good odds.
Yeah, and then still to win 2-1.
And to lose 2-1, yeah.
Yeah.
But no, it was that. We'll ask the question to you. Were you surprised that Isak didn't replace Wilson in the starting lineup?
God, I mean, there was a lot of talk, wasn't there? Saturday for me was a bit frustrating because everyone seemed to be losing their minds online about, because we didn't have a good first half performance. But in Eddie, we trust people.
You can't expect that.
So he could put, Mad Dog up front, and I would still trust him at the moment. So it didn't bother me, no.
Well, it probably bothered Max, But
yes, for a different reason.
Didn't Isak start against Brentford? It was West Ham Wilson started against.
You might be right, actually. I think it was Isak who started and Wilson then came on.
Exactly.
I actually wouldn't have been surprised either way, whichever one Eddie picked, because obviously, they're both
Wilson,
in form.
That's what I was saying. Yeah.
Wilson was 3 and 2. Yeah, on that because he scored.
Yeah.
And the two and that, and I understand why he did the West Ham one because I thought, well, look, it's given Isak a break, but also Callum Wilson's record against West Ham is just,
disgusting,
ridiculous. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, they hate him.
It is that, and that's it. Yeah, people are saying, "Oh, we had a poor first half." Yeah, would you not be blowing out your backside if you'd played like 3 games in 6 days and probably quite high intensity? Because it certainly wasn't an easy game against Manchester United. That would have took a lot out of the players because for me that was probably my performance of the season. They were phenomenal in that game. And then obviously to go to West Ham side, and I know the score was 5-1, but it wasn't a 5-1 game for me. It was quite difficult for the majority of it, and there was a lot of battles in there. So you've had 2 tough games where you've had to battle hard. You're then coming into a Brentford side and you've had to battle hard again. I do actually think the change in formation really, really helped, and we just seemed to look a totally different side. And bringing on Isak bringing on Wilson, dropping Isak back, and bringing on Gordon, I think changed the game because I actually thought Gordon had a really, really good game. But what we'll do before we go into the second half and our goals, question for you, because the fact is the offside goal was offside. The first penalty was definitely a penalty. There's no way we can say Botman got the ball because he didn't. To be fair, he wasn't too far away.
I actually felt a bit sorry for Botman because I think he was going to probably cleanly win the ball until it was Sharda.
Do you think he slipped?
I think he slightly miscontrolled the ball. And it totally threw Botman off, and he just ended up wiping him out. I mean, it is the most obvious penalty you'll see all season.
It was, and obviously, great to Nick Pope. That was a poor penalty from Toon.
And fair play to Nick Pope for having the balls to stand still for as long as he did, because that's really the key to saving a Tony penalty.
I'm actually going to say I thought Nick Pope was man of the match on Saturday. I thought he was back to his best.
Definitely up there. Definitely
in that sense. I think the controversial aspect of it is the second penalty that was given.
Yeah.
And I'm still not sure whether or not there was contact.
Yeah, and you know what, Mark? I think more importantly, none of the officials, including VAR, are sure if there was contact either. They're guessing. I mean, they seem to have 2 angles. I'm like, what the fuck, guys? Like, just chuck a few more cameras up in the stadium. We're supposed to be
No, here's the difference. Do they only have 2 angles, or do they only show 2 angles to
Good
fit
question.
what they wanted to do? Because I don't know whether or not it was our match, but I've got a feeling it was, where you looked at it and you could see the referee had a perfect line of sight to the incident and didn't give it. And then you sort of going, well, right, how is that clear and obvious? Yeah. In that sense, and that's where you sort of think, like, going, right, okay, well, yeah, come on, this needs to be something that's that's fed back, or it's something that we need to be able to hear to understand the reasoning behind it. Because I would look at that and it's not a high foot because he didn't. I was classed a high foot is above your waist, and it wasn't above his waist.
There's no point having it fed back, and because the reason we don't, so we can understand it, is that they don't understand it. And I know we're going to come to VAR later, but that's my. I mean, this weekend. I mean, ours was a small one compared to what happened to other teams this weekend, but well,
it still affected us.
It did affect us, yeah. I mean, that's what, yeah. I mean, again, all biased Geordies and all that, but yeah. I mean, for me, it looked like he was already going down when he knew it was coming. So, I mean, good luck to him. Well done. Go on, Mark, sorry.
I was just going to say, I think one of the problems we've got at the moment is referees are passing the buck to VAR to make a lot of decisions for them, right? And to a degree, I can kind of understand that. And to be honest, as long as you end up at the right decision in the end, who cares? Doesn't matter. The problem is we're not ending up with the right decisions on far too many occasions. And I think the best way to combat this, because it's all well and good going, no, referee, you can't do that. You need to make a decision. It's like, well, it's human nature. If they've got a backup system in place that they can rely on, they're going to do it, right?
Yeah.
So I honestly think the best way around this is that VAR, the decision-making process at large needs to be more collaborative. So at the moment, referees are passing the buck, and then it's left up to VAR to make a decision, and they kind of look at it in isolation, and there's no real conversation with the referee until they decide one of three things. Either, no, it's not a foul, in which case they speak to the ref and say, it's not a foul. Yes, it is a foul. You need to change your mind. Or, I think we got it wrong, but we're not 100%. Go and have a look and see what you think. It'd be a lot better if they could talk to the ref and find out what his view of it was. Because a lot of times refs are just going, I bet you there's a load of incidents where a referee will have a clear view, just like that one, as you pointed out, Marcus. The ref did have a clear line of sight to the incident. And I bet you there's a load of decisions where the ref thinks, I think that's a foul, but I'm not sure, so I'm just going to leave it for VAR. And if they could talk to each other and find out what the ref
I assume that they do.
I was going to, we'll move on to the VAR aspect in more detail in terms of looking at it, but VAR asks, so the referee states what he, in his opinion, he's seeing. And then that's when VAR will then go, right, okay, so given what so-and-so said, is that, has he made an error?
Yeah.
And you're looking at it, but we'll move on to that part a little bit later on there, because there's a couple of points that we can bring up in relation to that.
Yeah.
Let's move on to the first goal. As much as we'd love to give it to Jordan, and we can't, because it was probably going to shoot like past. It wasn't going to go in the goal. It was the deflection that took it in.
Yeah.
But it was his hard work that got it to that level. And it was, the fact that we did change that. And it's great seeing Jordan back on the pitch as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
And he put Ben Mee on his arse, which was great. So, he's I mean, he took them up like a kipper. It was ridiculous. Like he was done. And I think, I think if it doesn't hit Raya, I think it probably goes across for a tap in anyway. I think it was Wilson he was playing it into. So, top marks for Joel Linton all round on that one. And I love seeing him on the pitch, and he's so good in the middle of that pitch, man. We've got to keep him in the middle of that pitch. Less of this left wing nonsense.
Exactly. The fact is, the one thing which I do like when you've got him on the left wing is like him and Joe Willock that do like the interchanging and swapping in that, and that sometimes has worked.
Yes.
We'll move on to what I would say was the better of the two goals that we scored. Again, it all came from the fact that we were pressing more and getting that, and we're winning the ball back. Obviously, great work by Wilson, and obviously Wilson passed it in. But my God, what a filthy finish from Alexander Isak.
I mean, there isn't a bad angle to view that goal from, but the reverse angle behind him is particularly
Well, there
good.
is. Yeah.
If you're a Brentford fan. Yeah.
I was going to say, yeah, if you're a Brentford fan, the Brentford dugout or David Reyes.
Yeah.
But even they must have been thinking, "Oh, that's a bit good."
Honestly, it was just like.
Go on, Max. You must be.
Yeah, I mean, for me to see that, it was good to see because it shows that his confidence levels is so high now, and that's something he's been building up now. But I listened to some Swedish journalists talking about him, and they also saw this, and they mentioned that we haven't seen him do something like that in like over a year. Since he was like at his best form at Real Sociedad, and for him to take that finish, because that's a really hard finish and not many strikers can do that, was super good to see for me also, and probably for all you guys also, but especially for me, because we have seen him struggle a very long time now, and for him to score a goal like that just out of nowhere, it shows his class, and we know how good he is, and he can reach those levels, and he can do it more and more and more. So it's really good to see, and I also really like to see him and Wilson playing together, because I could feel that against the three center backs were really strong physically. He lost the battles pretty much across the fields, and he couldn't get to the ball so well.
Yeah.
So for him to partner up with Wilson, it's more physical. You could see Wilson was just barging into everyone as soon as he came on, and that helps Isak a lot, because if the one negative is with him is probably his physicality, that he's not so strong in duels. He makes up for it with good technicality, but the physicality is hard to like improve so much right now. But with him and Wilson working together works really fine, because Wilson, like what he lacks is the technicality. So I think they complement each other really well, and it was really good from how to make that switch so fast in half time, rather than wait to the 70th minute when maybe it wouldn't have the same impact.
Yeah, I agree. I think it was, again, Eddie Howe got it spot on in the time that he was doing it. And again, it was probably great to see Isak drop back into like that number 10 role, like that he can play and like be versatile in that. And it is great that he can play up front on his own. I actually think if we're probably facing three centre backs, would need to maybe play both.
I'd agree on that.
Isak, I think
we look far more dangerous in those situations when we do. Yeah,
I think like if a back four like we did against Man U and West Ham, a 4-3-3 is perfect, and it's easy thing to do. I think the only disappointment probably for the and I'm going to say this for the Brentford game is that Maxi was out.
Yeah, he's in his rocket ship, isn't he, off to Mars or something?
Yeah, he's in an oxygen tank somewhere.
No, just because honestly, again, you watch live and the Man U performance, and you're going, "Oh, that is just yeah." You were embarrassing them, man. Yeah, honestly, it was like unreal to watch him, and I'm like, you're back to your best, mate, and great. Yeah. And he seems to have like a good working relationship with Isak as well. They took like done that.
And he had a well worked assist in the West Ham game for
very good
Callum Wilson's opener.
Yeah, I mean the thing is with poor Maxi, and it's been a story of his season. He has a good couple of games. We all think, oh great, he's getting back to his best, and then he has to stop. It hasn't been a great season for him in that respect, has it? He hasn't really got ahead of steam going.
I know,
which is a real shame.
Yeah, I think the only thing which we can say was probably a good thing. It's the fact that you're now looking at it and going, okay, well, Gordon can play there, Joe Linton can play there, Will could probably drop in there, Isak could maybe move out there. So you're looking at that and you're going, for the first time in probably a while.
3 years ago would have been, we're good then.
We're spoiled. We're now going, oh, look at what I can bring off the bench. You're excited with the options that you can bring off the bench.
Absolutely.
And what a time for these options to present themselves, because 3 games in 6 days and playing Eddie Howe style football, you need a squad.
Yeah,
you really need a squad.
Another one due back.
Miggy.
Yeah. Miggy's back on the training ground, isn't he? That's true. That'd be
top scorer, Miggy.
Yeah. I mean, I think Isak could outdo that if he keeps. I mean, Isak just gives us so many. He's just all over the place. He's completely different to Wilson, which is why they probably will work together really, really well. But I can see why you don't want to put all the eggs in one basket and have them both play, because you know, if one of them got injured when they're both playing, then we've only got that one. So, you know, balance. I don't think we'll see them together very often.
No.
Saying
I
that,
think
probably start against Villa now. Said that.
And I don't necessarily think he will. I think he'll probably try and revert back to the 4-3-3.
Yeah.
But then he has a question because obviously I think is it Miggy's on 11. I think Wilson's on 10.
Yeah. Isak 8.
And he's at 8. So 2 more goals, and you're now looking at 3 players who are into double figures for Newcastle, which is probably the first time in a long time that's happened.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I can't even remember. Maybe the championship season. During my time as supporter, I think maybe it's.
I'm still not sure. It's difficult. It's normally difficult to count one player that's got into double figures, but never mind.
Yeah, but I remember that it was Gale, I think Richie and Gouffran, maybe Paris.
Yeah, possibly.
And then you go back to Nolan and maybe Carroll as well. Going way back there. We're about 10 years there, aren't we? So.
And I know we haven't seen probably the best, and I still don't think we've seen the best of Isak. Now,
God, no.
Even.
No.
Which is frightening.
Exactly. I think, he's a young lad, he's learning, and we're just scratching the surface. And I probably do agree. There are similarities, and this isn't to put any pressure on him, but there are similarities between him and Thierry Henry.
Yeah.
I mean,
we keep saying that, don't we? It's true.
But even if we get fit, even if we get 25% of what Thierry Henry was,
God, yeah,
we've got a hell of a striker on our hands and that, and it's just he's got that rich vein of form. He's getting the and his stats as well. Like if you're looking at the games per ratio and that, he's up there, probably just behind Haaland in that sort of a one. And it's great company to be kept in, especially with the way Haaland's been.
Imagine if he'd started 20 games this season, just in the Premier League. I
would say if Isak had kept fit this season, he probably would have been close to 20 goals.
Oh, easy.
And that's, to be honest, I think the same with Callum Wilson. I think if Callum Wilson is stayed fit,
we know he can't. That's the problem, isn't it? So, but
thing is, as well, it sounds crazy, but and don't get me wrong, I agree with that. But the logical conclusion of that is we would probably be in a title challenge.
Yeah, some of those draws, if you change, just
if Isak's getting
into
12
wins.
more goals already this season because he's fit, it's that means we're probably in a title challenge, which is insane.
Yeah, it would definitely be a 3-horse race.
But the fact is, if you think after the cup final and the Man City defeat, everyone was deflated, going, we haven't won the cup and we're probably going to be out. We're probably going to be playing Europa League football. Now, even Gary Neville on Sunday's turned around and went, okay, I've changed my mind now. I think Newcastle will make the top 4. And the closer it, like I said, I don't want to believe it.
No, you really don't want to jinx it, do you?
No, but the closer and closer it gets, you're going.
I can just tell by the way people have been now. They're getting really shirty if we do put a bad shift in. It's like, oh no, everyone's losing their shit. And
I know, and it's
I can see why, but
because you'd be like, so
where we are right now, we shouldn't be there. Simple as that.
No,
we are not Manchester. Well, we can rock up everywhere and just win. And the fact that we are is.
Well, that's the thing.
And everyone should just enjoy this ride and this moment, really, and just let it come. We're going to get beaten along the way. It's going to happen,
But there's fans who are like, oh, it's just a freak with, a fluke with Eddie Howe. I'm going, well, that's not this form.
Well, even if it is, so what?
Day one, in January when he joined. Right up to it's continuous. It's not something that's changed.
Yeah.
Our form in terms of the way that we've been playing, the results that we've been getting, has been pretty constant from him. And it's there's times where we've been getting results, and like I said, the fact that we're getting results and we're happy with Jacob Murphy on the pitch, honestly, but
it's just ridiculous, isn't it? I mean,
it's
really,
honestly I'm sitting there
through now. I mean,
but I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, well, it's great that Mickey's getting back fit. But I don't know whether or not I'd drop Jacob Murphy against Aston Villa. And that's crazy. Yeah. When you're looking at that and you're going, I don't think I'd drop him.
I mean, crazy when you think he doesn't stick out like a sore thumb. I mean, maybe he's finishing still, but still, he doesn't stick out to be like the weak link in that team. Because there is no weak link in that team. There's no weak link in that. Those 14, 15 players that Eddie likes.
Dan Burn.
No.
Slightly at times.
He
still does work, but but no.
He has limitations, but he still finds a way around it.
Oh yeah, no.
I mean, the fact is, he doesn't win us those games on his own, but we certainly don't lose them.
No,
I mean, he's in the best league. He's part of the best defense in the league. So
yeah, it's not a fluke, and the same.
I know,
and the same goes for Newcastle writ large as well, and Eddie Howe and not getting the credit he deserves from the, sort of the wider football community, if you will. We've been getting good results now for 16 months in a row, and we've been playing really good football for the vast majority of this season. How can that be a fluke?
Yeah,
it's too long a time period. It's too long a sample size.
Yeah,
you can't shithouse and bullshit your way through 16 months of results.
People
it just doesn't happen
because we're getting so much stick. Everyone,
exactly.
everyone, they'll say, "Oh, it's a fluke," but they know it's not. They know it's.
It would have been a fluke if it continued the best form we had after the World Cup. If that had continued, then it would be possible to say maybe this wasn't meant to be. But now we have returned to our form that we had before the World Cup. So now
we had a dip.
Now it shows that we have a good team and a good manager.
Our dip in form was we were drawing games. That was like that. We weren't losing, and it's like our normal dip in form was like we'd lose 8 on the trot.
Yeah. And the games we were winning ugly, like the Fulham one. We were
exactly. And to be honest, Brentford was back to that. Where we had to win ugly. There was a period.
West Ham was like that. I mean, we worked great against West Ham, and we, it flattered us to have 5 goals. I mean, they helped us out with at least 2 of them. But
it sounds weird, right? But the Brentford game is possibly the first time where I've ever thought to myself, I might be willing to admit that we are just a really top class side. And the reason I say that is because Brentford, it wasn't even that we won ugly. It was more so. If you look at the game from start to finish, I think we'd all agree Brentford had the better of the game for the first 45 minutes.
Yes.
I would argue by some considerable margin. There was then a 20, maybe 25 max minute period in the second half where we just blitzed them, and that was it. And then for the rest of the game, I wouldn't say that we were poor. I just think we managed the game and kept them at arm's length.
Yeah.
And all going through that kind of phase where it's like top teams will have these games where they turn up and go, we're not on it today, lads. And they've got a top class manager and a proper mentality within the squad where they make an adjustment midway through the game, have a spell in the game where they just absolutely blitz the opposition and sweep them to one side, which is what we did. He might be
a top-class manager, but he was a whinging get.
No, I'm talking about Eddie Howe, not Thomas Frank.
Oh, no, sorry, I thought you were on about Thomas Frank. And
nah. He's good, but he's no Eddie Howe.
Yeah.
And so to do that,
we were unlucky with their first goal, and the second goal was scored by a player that cost 63 million.
Did I mention how much that striker cost? By the way, did I mention how much he cost? Have I got that in yet? Sorry, I can't remember.
Yeah.
No, he did it in every single interview. He must have had a plan, because I think he did it on the BBC, Sky, and whatever. And I'm like, mate, it doesn't matter what he cost.
Yeah,
Danish scumbag.
I mean, I'm not being.
Bit of rivalry there, I think. Inter-country rivalry going on there.
Those bloody shifty days.
Those are not the thought of Toon Terrace. Those are purely the thought of Maxwell. His Twitter handles on the screen, as you can see there. So any abuse.
Any Danes out there, I get into.
The other thing about it is as well, and I haven't really heard too many people mention it. Like, he's so keen to mention the price tag for our star striker. I'm not being funny, right? But I'm not. Obviously, I know they didn't pay this money for him, but you can't tell me that Ivan Toney isn't also a 60 million quid striker. If he gets a move tomorrow somewhere, he's going for 50 to 60 million, isn't he? So it's like, cry me a river, Thomas.
Well, the question is,
this is it.
Well, Thomas, how do you feel about a player scoring your penalty who should probably be banned for betting offences?
Yeah. If Eddie Howe had pigtails, he'd be running up and behind him and pulling his pigtails in the playground.
Oh, no,
Frank, and running off when he. Yeah, you love him. We get it. You're jealous.
But I think that now
fine,
proves.
Don't worry about it.
But does that not show that we are becoming the top side, and the
Yeah,
fact that
that's
it is
what I was saying.
rattling
The fact
these
that we're
players,
getting
man.
under absolutely everyone's
And I'm-
skin
yeah,
constantly
I'm
means that
actually
they
gonna
are
say-
worried.
I actually have more respect for David Moyes a little bit now because he didn't do any of that, and he actually says, to be
He
fair,
was too
but I
busy
would,
slagging his own fans off, wasn't he?
when,
I think
no,
I think you're
he
right,
didn't
Mark.
because he said to be fair, if I was one of them, I probably would have walked out.
But then he did say, but then again, it's harder to stand here as a true fan would stand here through the thick. Is what he said as well, which I would have been just like, oh, okay.
But I'm not being funny.
Compliment, take it away.
He's had some flack from them.
Oh, I know, but we're not going to talk about him. He's not.
But you just look at that. You know, it's like Thomas Franks took the Ten Hag lessons of how to deal with it,
and Eddie's not like that as well. That is the best thing about Eddie Howe is just that he's just not like the rest of them. He's not a whinger. He doesn't, he very rarely loses his rag on the touchline unless
He
it's
never
Ten
talks
Hag.
about the opposition when we.
Well,
lose.
actually,
No,
the
he doesn't.
only time I think I saw him.
Well,
lose his
to
rag
be
was
fair
that
though,
not
you
the
do have to
West
lose
Ham
a game.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah,
that is true.
No, but
Sorry,
was
Mark.
it not the West Ham game at one point where he lost his rag? Because it might be towards the end where we were getting a
it
little bit.
was
and you
first
could-
half when Pope had his tactical lie down.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
yeah.
But no, it was that, and you're like, that's the
And he
first
was
time I've
tearing
probably
into
seen
them.
him get. Yeah, and I'm like, oh, that's the first time I've seen that. Go on, Eddie. It's like you're seeing what he probably does in the changing room sometime. Come out on the pitch because I think he's probably that frustrated in that. But it
I
just
would
shows
hate
he
him to do that,
demands a lot from them.
Yeah, I would hate him to turn into that guy, like Walter White in Breaking Bad.
But like I said,
it
I
would
don't
break my
think
heart to see him lose that because it is just so refreshing, and he's our guy, which makes it even
But
sweeter.
also, was it Thomas Francis said, "Oh well, yeah, it's because Jason Tyndall's always at the fourth official." Yeah, keep on going, Tin. Yeah, Mad Dog. Oh,
Yeah, he's
you want that
he's the only one who does that. No one else does that. Just
I mean,
Tyndall.
all these managers that are moaning about Jason Tyndall, I'm like, well, maybe you should speak to your assistant manager and make them earn their paycheck. Like,
Yeah.
I just don't get it. It's like you've got an assistant, they've got a mouth. The fourth official's right there. There's no rule against speaking to them.
but I'm
Crack
going
on.
to be,
Like-
I'm going to be saying that though. I don't think I see him there that often,
I-
especially
I-
with the
well,
Gallagher.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm like,
Yeah,
like you
I've
look over
never
and you're
noticed
going, I've
him
never really seen that.
I do think
But his
Because
nickname
most
is Mad
times-
Dog.
Yeah.
So it
Well, no,
must be
but most
somewhere.
times, because when you look over, it's just those two. It's Eddie and Jason.
Eddie with his
both stand
notebook
together.
out. Yeah.
When up at the both together, it's like they're inseparable on the touchline, and it's great. Honestly, it's like, yeah, they're amazing as a management team from that aspect. But no,
It's funny. It's weird how he called it the football dark arts. That just kept my mind going to
Well,
Voldemort.
again, that's-
the Voldemort is back or something.
That's-
Well, no,
dark
That's
arts
a dark
of
art
football.
in itself.
well,
isn't
no,
it?
but
saying it's a dark art,
well, no,
I
but
mean,
remember, we've had that. People have called it that, and he's just using that. It's like I'm like, yeah. So what? So
That's-
yes.
Newcastle
return.
moaning Mad Libs, isn't it? It's just they're just throwing crap together.
But he was
because
like,
it's
"Oh,
all
we need-"
regurgitated phrases.
But he was like, "Oh, we need to get rid of these dark arts." No, we need to keep them because they're
which is
really
what he
good.
was doing right there, and then you're saying that in public anyway.
The ring
Exactly.
of power has returned.
Yeah.
But it's like, yeah, so
Sorry.
what if we take a little bit longer on a Toon and that? Oh, yeah, like we're kicking away. Yeah, like I can't remember which game it was, but we kept on like kicking the ball away and stuff like that. And they say, yeah, those are things that we should be doing. To be fair, we can't really whinge about time wasting because Ten Hag, showed us how to do it.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely.
De Gea was time wasting from about minute 3.
For about 30 seconds. It was even earlier than that. Yeah, it was about 30 seconds, wasn't it? First goal he was like, first time he touched it, he had it for ages.
I know. But obviously, just the other point to look at that is, who would have thought coming into mid-April we'd be sat there going, we've got the best defence in the Premier League and we've only lost 3 games.
Still, yeah.
Yeah, you'd be going.
That's what I mean. Enjoy the ride, guys. Enjoy it. It doesn't.
I know you'd be like,
it's just-
do you not mean the championship? Is that our
Yeah.
championship? Right?
I forgot we only have lost 3 games this season. It felt like, I don't know why.
No, it is, and
It's
I
crazy.
think, well, and 2 were in Liverpool, and 1 was away at the Man City.
That's
Yeah.
not too
Yes,
bad. I mean,
so you're going, that wise, yeah. And when you look at what City's done to some of the teams, you're going, like Liverpool lost 4-1. They're going, we only lost 2-0.
There's no shame in losing to Man City away.
No, God,
No.
no. Yeah.
No.
I mean, look at Bayern Munich yesterday. So yeah,
Exactly.
Look, we did better than Bayern Munich. So yeah,
exactly.
So it's just those things you look at now. But we'll move on to VAR because
Do we need to?
Yeah. But there was and this is where I think Gene Rubin is listening to me calls because I was talking about it, and lo and behold, then like probably about a couple of hours later, he tweeted it, and I'm like, excuse me, that was my thought, and it was, and he said there should be a time limit on the offside. I would probably say you need to make sure that's offside, so that's fine. I'm not gonna. But for things like penalties and red cards and those sort of things, if you are looking at it for 60 seconds and you can't see something that tells you that it's clear and obviously different to what the referees advised you, then it isn't going to be clear and obvious, and therefore it's you just go right. Okay, 60-second time was up. I've seen nothing in the angles that I've got that would indicate that you made an error. Play on.
Yeah.
I think. I mean, I largely agree with that point, and I think the problem that we've got, I mean, there's so many, but the problem that this specifically highlights is that you use the phrase there quite rightly, Mark, clear and obvious. You hear this phrase spattered around quite a lot, and what VAR actually does and what we're told it's supposed to do are two completely different things. It's presented as this idea of we are here to correct any clear and obvious errors. And in practice, it's being purposefully used to go, we're here to correct even the smallest errors to help the referees as much as we possibly can to cover our own backs. That's my honest feeling about it.
And to manipulate results. No, we'll not.
We'll not get into that, but I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if there is something going on there. But let's I mean, obviously this is a Newcastle podcast. We're not going to speak about Spurs Brighton game that much, but needless to say, that was criminal. It did affect us.
Yeah, that was.
And it was absolutely criminal. I mean, nothing short of criminal. Really, ridiculous.
I can understand the argument which the saying is, look, the handball is it's one of those things. It's the rule rather than VAR. That's the bit of the sort of like piss take with the handball rule, because I think it's ridiculous. It's like, if the rule should be, if you're not giving it as a penalty, it's not. They're not getting an advantage if it's hitting the. So that aspect there, but it's the penalty decisions that for me, I was going, how on fucking earth are you not looking at that and going, you made a clear error because you looked at it and
The thing is, the referees are so bad. And VAR's so bad that I'm actually a convert to this handball rule. So I used to think exactly the same as you, Mark. I used to think, well, you should have to be getting an advantage for it to be. It's like, no. That's too difficult for these refs to work out, right? Make it so easy. Just they need to learn to walk before they can run. If it hits the arm, to hell with it, right? At least then it's consistent and the same for everyone.
Same is, if you would give it as a penalty, then you disallow the goal. If you wouldn't give it as a penalty, then you don't disallow the goal, because if you're not giving it as a penalty, then they've not gained an advantage by doing that.
In principle, I agree with you, but it's way too difficult for these.
Because all three of them, if you look at all, and this is the rule rather than implemented, but all three goals which were disallowed for handball this weekend, 2 were obviously for Brighton and 1 for us. Neither of them had their arm out. They were down their side or in there, and I'm like, they were gaining no advantage by the ball hitting the arm or the whatever it was at that particular time. And it's just like it's ridiculous, because there was no.
It is.
If there was a movement of water or anything like that, I'm just like, but this is the point where you're going, Mike, but is this not where VAR should be involved? Because VAR, so the referee might not be able to see whether or not there's the intent of gaining advantage with your hand, but that's what VAR can do.
It's too hard for them. It's as simple as this. The whole debate with VAR is simple. VAR works. The people who use it don't.
Exactly.
I agree.
It is that easy.
But
VAR as a system, as a technicality, as a technical thing is fine. It's everything else, and it's everything else that you mentioned as well. They just don't know. Like Mark said earlier on, it is just too much of like, oh well, I think that was wrong, but someone will tell me if that's wrong in a minute.
Well, this is the question.
No, make your own mind up. You know, I mean, how often now? Every time they watch the screen, we know that's going to be given.
Well, it is
99 times out of 100.
Yeah, it is. But
we all know it. I mean, we've got into that trap.
Yeah, this is the question I'm asking and say, have you heard of controversies with VAR in La Liga? No. In Serie A? No. In Europa competition like the Champions League? No. So it's like, right, so does that not tell you something? VAR isn't the issue when it works there. Look at I think was it the Euros in the World Cup? Because I actually thought VAR was working tremendously in the World Cup in how they were reading. A couple of yes, but
there always going to be some
over the
there's always going to be some
human error.
Yeah, but predominantly it was working really well. I'm going, mate. So does this not sort of like bring alarm bells up to the PGM? Well, that the only place that there seems to be a constant level of issues with it, is the Premier League, and you're like,
and it's not new anymore. We've had this for 4 or 5 years. They should have figured this out.
Here's the option. Well, no, here's an option which I've got. Why not bring international referees in?
Well, yeah, they've talked about that, haven't they?
So have like English refs it,
referees who know,
but bring in like German or Italian or whatever.
It doesn't matter what language you speak, as long
but
as
also,
you know what they're doing.
If you're going to continue with the English ref, bring in ex-players who can act as an assistant to say, look, like like with the Elianza goal that was disallowed because of the offside thing, which it never should. If you'd had an ex-player there, they would have said, I can tell you.
But that's just a simple interpretation of the rules that they got wrong.
No, but the referees, some of them might not have played football, so therefore they don't know that. So
but that's
their job.
That's a rule that they didn't understand.
Well,
it can't get offside because it touched one of their players.
Their job is to interpret the laws of the game.
Simple as that. They didn't know that was the rule. It was, it's like we've had those moments. We've had where they forgot to draw the bloody lines. I mean, how hard can it be?
With the Elliot Anderson thing, they knew what the rules were.
Well, they can't know they'd given it.
Well, no, but they made the decision that wasn't an intentional play of the ball. What I'm saying is an ex-pro there would have been able to sit there and go, I can tell you without any certainty that that motion that the Forest defender did was a purposeful intent to play the ball. And then they would have went, right, okay, in that case, it's a goal. So that's what I'm saying. There's things like that. Or do you know, like when there's penalties being given?
But my man would have known that was, I mean,
even like penalties and that, they could go, I can tell you from the way that he's went down there, he's went to buy that. Do you know what I mean? And therefore, there's things that you could probably get from ex-professionals that could help the game in that sense.
I mean, maybe
you understand the game more.
Maybe. I mean, I don't know. I think 9 out of 10 things that's wrong with VAR, we'd all pretty much all agree with, and none of us have played football to any high standard. But we can all go after watching enough football to go, yeah, he meant that. So
I have an interesting point on this, because in Sweden now we have the debate of whether to bring in VAR in or not, because we still don't have it in the top tier here. So it's an ongoing debate, and because a lot of Swedish football supporters watch the Premier League because that's like the easiest thing to watch for us. The debate is very intense because in the league, I've watched a few games now this week and months. They get most of the decisions right, like all the offsides and some of the penalty shouts. They get like 90% of them right. So it's just that 10%, and you can't be perfect because as you guys said, it's the human error. You can't get 100% correct decisions. But what you need is something is to back up the refs when you see that it's not. I don't want to say it, but a clear and obvious error when you see someone is like 1 meter offside, and the linesman missed it because maybe he looked at the wrong thing, or it happens so quick, especially in the Premier League when the intensity is so high.
Or like the linesman flagging Joe Linton offside for his goal against West Ham, and then you look and go, "What? He's offside."
Yeah, that's a situation where VAR is used for a good cause and it's actually something good. That was a perfectly good goal that they ruled out, but they could go back and be like, no, he was onside, so give them the goal.
The thing with the offsides is I don't think that it's a coincidence that the least controversial thing about VAR is the offside decisions, and it seems to be where they get most of the decisions right. And the fact that an offside decision requires the least amount of interpretation from a referee, because it's either offside or it's not the vast majority of the time. There's a very, 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 very small number of cases where it's so marginal. But we've got this rule. It's like, well, if it's the shoulder or whatever, if he's like Tony at the weekend, if that's in front of the defender, it's classed as offside. So it's almost like the decision has been taken out of the referee's hands. It's definitive, and there's not much of a controversy.
I would say the only controversy in terms of the offside is when a player doesn't touch the ball. Yes. So if we like Ivan Toney in the home game, he didn't touch the ball, but he was interfering, or he was in play, shall we put it, and that's why it was disallowed. But then you look at the Man U game where Marcus Rashford was deemed as not interfering, and
that should have been disallowed.
And I'm not being funny. I don't know how much more fucking not interviewing you can, how much more interviewing you can get.
That's just
I mean, it was.
Yeah, I mean, VAR again, and that's where like your mistake.
Well, no, that's handball rule as well, isn't it? I mean, they changed that. I mean, it wasn't broken, so they fixed it. Because back in the day, you're offside. That's it. He was offside. Doesn't matter. Carry on.
Well, I'm actually going to say.
Exactly. That's my point. They just, they had a perfectly good way to doing it. It wasn't broken, but they fixed it. I mean, it was in terms of the
handballs for the penalties. I actually think. At least now, so if you look at that and you can see, like, you can go, yeah, that's going to be a penalty. Yeah, you can see, like, like let's say, where the position of the arm is, you can predominantly go, yeah, that's going to be a penalty.
Well, there's another one, the arm thing. Where's like the arm now? One day it's like it's here, that's all right, and then but if it's I mean, what happened to the days where if it hit your arm? And it stops the ball traveling where it's going to go, it's a penalty. If it's your arm and you've put your arm in the way, it's a penalty and you get sent off. But they changed it.
So if
that's how it used to be, where it didn't matter if you accidentally touched
let's put
that ball going that way.
So if you've got your arms behind your back, there's still going to be a point where some part of your arm is going to be outside your body because you can't.
If it stops the ball traveling where it's going to go, intentional or not, that's a penalty because you're stopping the ball with something. Well, that's how it used to be, didn't it?
No, I know, but it's not. I don't agree that that's how it should be. For me, if you move your arm outside of the silhouette, or the shadow of your body, so if your arms are away from your body, then you run the risk because you are making yourself bigger, and if it hits your arm, you then put your arm in the way. Well, that's all
where your arm is at the time. But if it stops it going where it's going to go, and your arm is,
if your arm, but if your arms. But what I'm saying is if your arm's down the side or like that, so it's like where you're hitting your chest or anything like that, then I agree those aren't penalty decisions because they're within the silhouette of the body. So that's where I'm just saying I think it's got clearer where if someone's got their arm out, you're going, yeah, that's going to be a pen. Yeah. You can see straight away, like with the arm out, it's going to be a pen. So it's those are the things
I said they changed it and you didn't need to. Yeah. So.
Well, I actually think that they changed it, but then I think they put a little bit more clarity in the handball rule because there was like they
changed it and then they sort of halfway went back to what it was because they realised that was a stupid thing to do.
It was, but
the change. To be honest, the change to the offside is more infuriating. This whole is he active? Is he not?
Yeah,
active?
exactly.
It's a nonsense. It's like we should go back to how it was, where if there was any player offside, it's offside. And the reason it should be like that is because you cannot tell me there is anything such as an inactive player. If there's someone standing in a blatantly offside position on the left-hand side of the pitch, you can't tell me that isn't adjusting where the goalkeeper's standing, where the defence is all arranged. It's an absolute nonsense.
I promise I had no intention of touching that football, Your Honour.
I mean, here's the question. But do you not also think, like, if a player has started in an offside position, but then by the time he's actually coming to get if he's coming to get the ball, he's onside. It's like, well, he's not gained an advantage because he's had to run back to an onside position to get the ball. So where's the advantage in that?
It depends where he was when he ran, didn't it?
Yeah.
And how far he had to run.
And his initial position will affect where, for example, the goalkeeper stands and all kinds of things.
Yeah. I mean,
and
again, a rule.
Yeah.
It wasn't. There was nothing wrong with it. They changed it, and it all went to shit after that, as far as I can see.
They've added more complexity to
So
a rule.
something that used to be very, very straightforward.
And the referees were
with that.
already struggling with the existing rule, and I'm coming back to it. We need to make shit as simple as possible for these imbeciles, right?
Yeah.
They're not
Exactly.
qualified
VAR works,
to do
the people who
their job.
use it. Exactly.
They
VAR
need to
works,
learn to
people who
walk
don't know. Exactly.
before they can run. And we're
Exactly.
trying with every conceivable decision at the moment, doesn't matter what type it is, it's like run. It's like, shit, lads, I don't know how to walk yet. We need, and it's going to take a long time to fix it, because the only fix for this is better quality refereeing, and that requires better training, and that requires years and years and years of new referees being brought through the system.
Yeah.
So get used to this shit.
To the most scrutinised league in the world.
Do you know, I'm actually going to say,
in the world.
this is where, and this just shows where the standard refereeing's coming from. The fact that Craig Pawson I actually look at now and think, yeah, what, you're actually a decent referee, mate.
Yeah.
And he is, yeah.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
So I think wasn't he the referee for the West Ham game? And actually going, you know what, mate, you've had a
You'll do
decent
for me,
game.
mate. Yeah, you'll do for me,
No,
son. Go on.
He's done, and then you're looking at the fact that, and I see Jared Gillett. He's probably up there with one of the better referees.
England as well is like
Darren England,
decent-ish. Like he's
no,
not. He's
Who was
not
that
good.
Aussie that we had? That the
Wasn't he the one
no,
on
Jared
VAR?
Gillett.
Yeah.
But I was going to say, I'm sure Darren England was the VAR.
Yeah, for Tottenham Brighton.
Wasn't
For
he
our
the VAR for our game?
Maybe. I think I saw his name somewhere during the.
But no,
But I still think he's
Darren England was also the fourth official that was on in first class on my train when I was going down to London for Wembley. Because I remember, because I was going, his face looks familiar, and then I was watching the Fulham game.
Yeah.
And the fourth official there, and I went, he's the guy off the train.
Let's just wrap this up by saying about the easiest one is the Willock goal against Palace.
Yes.
If you can't see that he was pushed into that ball and fouled, and therefore they are the architects of their own of the goal, then VAR doesn't work, or something is wrong with that line there, that bit. Why did that not work? You could see it, they saw it. What happened to that not being a goal? And it's as simple as that.
I think the best solution, a quick solution we can have to this, is to bring in some referees and VAR from sort of from La Liga or wherever, and train our referees to use it the way that they use it in their league.
Yeah.
Just to point out something. So Max has confirmed Darren England was the VAR referee in our game.
Mm-hmm.
Also, Michael Salisbury, who I believe was the referee that was sent over to the screen by Lee Mason, who then disallowed the Joe Willock goal in the Crystal Palace game.
Lee Mason
was the VAR referee for the Spurs Brighton game.
Well,
there's something about these bold referees. Paul Tierney, also Mike Dean.
The ones who look like PE teachers, yeah.
But I'm actually saying
Taylor is all right, but Paul Tierney is
get up that rope, lad.
I don't see Paul Tierney as being that bad as well.
No, he was shit for us in one game. I don't remember.
I didn't like Stuart Atwell against Man U because the fact that he told Nick Pope off for time wasting. I'm going, well, I'm not being funny, but there's this Spanish kid down here who's done it, quadruple the time, So if you're gonna have a go at him, have a go at this one.
Yeah.
Anyway.
But we could go on for ages.
We could just be.
We should just move on. We're not getting anywhere. Unsurprisingly, we're not fixing this complex issue on the podcast.
We're not fixing that bars run by idiots.
Well, let's move on to the next topic, and that is the Yankee Toodle.
Yankee Toodle dandy.
The fact that we must be in the Premier League's good books because we've been invited on their inaugural Premier League summer series.
Money making
in the USA, and that is it's probably great, because you're playing in the competition, you're up against Premier League sides, so you're getting a good level of like competition, for your you warm up, and normally these are the sort of games that you see the big teams play. So United just reiterates that as well.
Bit of an upgrade on playing Doncaster, that kind of thing.
Rotherham, Hearts, those sort of things
at their own training facility.
But then you also look at it and go, well, there's two, because the sponsorship deals, you could have sponsorship deals showing up for like the season, but then you could have, like, let's say United Airlines being our official airline sponsor for the American tour. Coca-Cola is our official drink. The sponsorship aspect of that. So that's what I'm saying, the money making. Mickey and Darren Neal's go back to Atlanta.
Exactly. They get a little trip home back to Atlanta.
Exactly. So you love that, but then also it's a case of us increasing our fan base in America.
True. But I mean, it's one of those things we're going to have to accept. I don't personally like it. I want to go to Doncaster. Because I know there's more chance of me being able to go to Doncaster than flying to Atlanta. And I get why we have to do it, but I don't want us to end up going to the Far East and playing one warm-up game, over here. But I just put my hands up and go, it's going to happen. So I'm not a fan of it. But
just to correct your geography, America isn't in the Far East.
No, I mean, and we'll go to the Far East at some point, like Manchester United do, and Liverpool. They go to the tour. What I meant was they go to the Far East every year.
No.
If you fly east for long enough, you'll hit America eventually. You
will hit a globe, so you just be going round. So, but I get
we
why
don't go to the Far East. We go to the Middle East.
We go to the Middle East. I mean, I get why we have to do it. I don't like it. I would prefer to play York. Because it helps those teams as well. I mean, don't forget they're getting something out of it.
We're only playing 3 games over there. There's going to be a couple more games that we're going to.
Oh yeah, no. But what I mean is, it's still 3 more than we'll play here.
We're playing Rangers.
That's an interesting point.
I tell you what, I hope we play Athletic Club again. I love those lads.
Yeah, the great fan base. But you just look when you're going, it's nice to be able to, and plus, you think of players, that you can attract all going on a summer tour to America, and that, new signings will be going, oh, great.
Oh yeah, I get all that. Yeah. I just think it's a shame, but it's the way it is now, isn't it? I mean, as simple as that, I mean, I just would prefer.
It's not all glitz and glamour though. They are.
Well, I believe
New Jersey for a game.
Well, I was going to say, because they're playing at the Red Bulls Arena, for one. They're playing in Philly for one, and they're playing obviously in the gorgeous Mercedes-Benz Arena in Atlanta, which is like a stunning.
They've got to do stadium.
Which
shocking.
Well, no, can we just point out though that the Mercedes-Benz Stadium was partly concocted by a Mr. D. Eels. I don't know where he is at the minute.
Nobody talks about this as well, but it's also significantly taxpayer funded, such as the way that stadium builds in America work. So it wants to be a bloody good stadium for the amount of money that the public paid for the damn thing to give to a private corporation.
But no, honestly, it is. When you look at it, you're going,
oh, it's gorgeous.
Oh, don't get me wrong, but
I ain't going to be
able to see it because I can't afford to go.
It shits on the Spurs stadium. When you look at it, you're just going, it's amazing in that. But you look at that and you go, I'm not. It's just one of those things where I think it's a good thing all around.
Oh yeah,
I don't mind it. I'll be the devil's advocate to Michael here. I don't mind it in the sense that, look, doesn't matter how many friendly games we play in the UK. I'm not going to them anyway. I might go to the home ones. I might go to 1 or 2 of them at St James's Park. I can't get myself excited about non-competitive football. The irony is, I'm probably more likely to go to a game in the US because it's like, okay, I can combine it with a bit of a trip or what have you. I don't think I'm going to go to any of it. I mean,
but we don't need to go to Europe next year. We're going to go to the Bernabeu next year.
So Mark, what you're saying is you're going to go to your boss and go, on this date, can I have a work event in Philadelphia, this date in Atlanta, and this date in New Jersey, if you don't mind.
I mean, conveniently, my company's headquarters is based in Pennsylvania, so I could go over to Philly.
Yeah, you're also looking at the fact that we've got our US correspondent Ben
Yes.
Who's probably going to be. Although I'm sure he said for the Philly one, he's actually over in the UK.
Amazing. That's amazing.
Not saying it's because of that, Ben, but I think that's probably why they've done the game. Then they went, but when's he over in the UK? Right, okay, we'll arrange it for then. But no, I just think it's good. And the great thing is, it's probably going to be on TV.
Aye.
Because those sort of games, like the Premier League, sort of
and
like
that feeds
games,
that feeds into what you were saying earlier as well, Mark. That's a money spinner because you get the TV money out of it as well and stuff, and plus the sponsorships, like you were saying.
But just a little drop on that. How annoying is it that we're now sitting there and I'm going, I was annoyed that the Brentford game wasn't on TV because we've got that used to be like every game from January.
I know,
being on TV.
I mean, it was on TV, so I don't really know.
Yeah,
well,
Max
for you maybe but that's another thing which you're looking at and you're going, how come someone in Sweden can watch every single game, but yet someone in the UK can't watch a game?
That will happen over here one day. Trust me. They'll get wise and they'll get their own Premier League in the next 10 years.
I haven't seen any of the game. I'm still waiting for Max's mailing us over a DVD, recorded it for us. You know,
it's just Isaac's goal 300 times.
Rewind
it. From like 7 different angles.
I will say I don't know how many times I rewatched the Man U highlights. I'm just like, I'm watching them again. I'm watching them again. Actually, go on, I'm watching them again. It's like,
I think the days of frustration on this are short-lived, though, because I think the Premier League are finally going to wake up to the fact that they are leaving so much money on the table. Like the Premier League makes way more money in TV revenue than any other league in the world, and we only show half the games. And it's like, really, lads, you don't want to double your money? And on top of that as well, at the moment, they're relying on the likes of, your Skies, your BT Sport over here, whatever.
Middleman,
it's like you just need to get somebody competent to make a sort of Netflix for
it will
Premier
happen.
League.
It will happen in the next 10 years. They'll have their own streaming service.
Cut out the pointless middlemen.
Right, but the Premier League has a production service because
they do.
All the overseas streaming is done by Premier League.
That's right. It will happen soon.
And I mean, right. So you practically got your setup sorted. All you need to do is just find yourself like I'm sure it's something like an NHL sort of like streaming service.
There's an MLB one, MLB like apps on your like Apple TV and your Google TV and stuff.
I'm not being funny, but even something like, and I'm not being funny, like the MLS have done the deal with like Apple TV.
Yeah.
Where you pay a season pass and you get to watch every single game.
Yes,
and
it's going to happen. That's going to happen to the Premier League. I mean, the thing was when the Premier League started, not that any of you guys would probably remember that, but everyone was like, "Oh, well, the 3:00 kickoffs on Saturday would be sacrosanct." They just thought people would stay away.
And what happened in that time? Premier League attendances have skyrocketed,
shot up, and there was no way of watching it all. There was no sort of medium to do that. Now we can all watch it on streaming it all the time. But there was no other way to watch it. Yeah. So I mean, it's going to happen. Simple as that. Same as us going to America. It's going to happen. Streaming is going to happen. The game will change in the next 5 or 10 years.
Well, exactly. And like you said, but you can also then do a one where you can go, right, okay, well, you can buy a season pass just for your team at such and such a price.
Yeah, exactly.
Or you can do like a full Premier League one at this price and have every single game watch on, and it's like
look how many people get locked out of our games right now.
Yeah, and then if you look at
away games, like you said, it just people will still want to go. Simple as that. People still want that match day experience, and they'll get wise to it, and it will.
Would you think maybe 2,000 people were at Brentford, like, isn't away game, but you probably could have sold 50,000 tickets for that game, and it's just like the demand, especially when you look at it now. And that's why when people keep on going, no, the Premier League don't want this out. Of course they do, man, because they're thinking increased TV revenue.
No, the Premier League has one master, and that is money. Yeah, we must make more money. So of course.
Well, this is. But you also look at the fact now, and you think the fact that Brentford is the first game. I think they see since January that hasn't been
on TV. Yeah.
The Southampton one at home isn't, but I'm not really fussed because
Yeah.
Well,
I'm watching that live. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
I'm going.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
And then I'm going. There's only I think 2 games left of the season where we haven't, and again they're not on TV, and that's Leicester and Chelsea. And I'm going. I've got a feeling the Leicester one will be.
I've got a feeling the Chelsea one might be as
and
well.
I think the Chelsea one might be as well. So you look at that and going,
our TV revenue at the end of this season is going to be mental.
And that's what success brings, and that's what we want, isn't it? Which is why I just
it's also because the TV
thing.
companies know fine well that in the UK as an audience, Newcastle United pull one of the biggest audiences in terms of that. So they're
box office, man.
Yeah, we are, and it's like, and I think
reasons.
I think Amanda, has said in an interview with whichever she's been at, and she said Sky love coming to us at the minute because it's the authentic atmosphere and stuff like that. It's such a great thing to be in. I think even in this, and I'll again just to jump back to the Man U game, because the atmosphere was unbelievable. Like, honestly, I've not heard an atmosphere like that in a long time, and that it was stunning. And even Gary Neville went, it's the first time in 11 years of me doing this, that this has been, they were incredible. And it was that, and it's just like, but that's what these games should be like. 100%. And it was, honestly, and it was just like, everything just went with the atmosphere and everything like that. Yeah. I think at the end of the game, I was going, Neville, what's the score? Neville, what's the score?
We've got our club back, well and truly.
Oh, 100%. And I'm like, look, no matter where we finish this season, it's been such a hell of a ride.
Exactly. That's sit back and enjoy it.
Yeah. Hey, and the other thing is, like, we've got a summer to look forward to of some more presumably very good signings as well. I mean, we're not going to the US to raise money and getting new sponsorships in and getting all this TV money for now. Are we? We're going to be spending it on players.
Very nice.
Now we'll probably be picking up some of them who have Declan might be goes to Florida in that first holidays. Now we'll just pick you up on the way back, Declan.
Yeah,
it's fine. Yeah, we'll do that. But what we'll do is we'll wrap it up there, and we'll see you on Friday for the match preview as we face Aston Villa in the early kickoff. So
sounds good.
See you and good night.
Thanks for joining.